Hey, what's up guys, this is ElasticSpyder here, and in today's video we have another community replay. I'd like to thank you guys so much for all the support you've been giving us over the last year, 2 years. Really do appreciate it, and we also really do appreciate all the community replays that you've sent in. If you'd like to send one in, send it to BIAworldofwarships@gmail.com. Please include your screenshots, the game itself, and a very short description of what you'd like what happens during the battle. Additionally, if you'd like to send in a match analysis for Sneaky Snake to review and go over for the match analysis, you can also do that by putting in match analysis somewhere in the subject or in the title itself. So, in today's replay, we have someone from the EU server by the name of Masquerade. He's playing in his Ibuki, and the Ibuki is one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best Tier 9 cruisers. It does have a lot of competition, though, between the Baltimore and the Rune. At some point, the Donskoy is pretty good, too, but I think the top two cruisers, at least for their playstyle, is the Ibuki and the Rune. Their playstyle is very similar. A lot of kiting and a lot of HE/AP spam, depending on the circumstances. Here in this replay, we will see a little of both, which is a nice addition, and that's something you have to always remember, that with these higher tier cruisers, is that their AP is actually quite good. So, interesting thing I want to point out from the beginning is that Masquerade is not running premium consumables except for heal. So that is somewhat interesting. I'm glad to see that he is running premium heal. I would also like him to be using premium damage control. I think that's another one of those key important perks. And if you don't have the credits to run at T9, you don't have to play it. But in any case, he decided to go at least with the premium heal. Now, I would also recommend Defensive Fire for Japanese cruisers, just for the fact that if a carrier does come after you, he's going to kill you, without a doubt, and Defensive Fire does kind of save that a little bit. Now, since he is playing on EU, I don't play on EU personally all that much. I do have an account there, but it's only Tier 3, so I can't speak for the amount of carriers and the vastly different gameplay that could occur in the EU server. So with that being said, Hydro could be an option if you are on the EU server. However, I still would recommend Defensive Fire regardless. So we are going to be making a full circle. We've got about half, a little bit less than half of their enemy team here. Saw that Minotaur trying to come into that Tashkent smoke that died early. And of course, we've got the AP loaded, because we know if that Minotaur gets spotted by the Missouri via radar, then it could be a very quick dev strike. Or if the smoke runs out, that too. One mistake when I watched this replay the first time is right here. He turns in a slight amount, and this probably cost him about 10k worth of damage. Had he turned out a little bit sooner, he wouldn't have eaten all this fire that he's going to be taking from this Minotaur. He would already be stern on at this point. But with 5 citadels, you can't complain about that. You can't complain about that at all. In fact, St. Louis, he was angled decently, but someone else is going to hit him hard pretty soon here, which is going to take his health down quite a bit. 2 torpedoes into the smoke, or torpedoes into the smoke. 2 of them hit the Minotaur for a devastating strike, which is very nice. Here, St. Louis tries to turn broadside, and kerplunk. One of the other battleships did hit him first, but that is okay. He still would have gotten a lot of pens, even though a lot of those looked like they were actually going to be hitting the main belt armor. And of course, for French cruisers, they do have that spaced armor, which is a slightly different mechanic within itself. So sometimes it can, or a lot of the times it can actually bounce 203s, and sometimes battleship shells can do weird things in that vicinity as well. So just things to keep in mind, of course. So one thing I do like though is he's knowing when to use his damage control. You saw there, he disengaged after he shot that Ibuki or that St. Louis. Apologies, and he waited for about 15 to 20 seconds until the Mogami stopped firing on him to use damage control. So, knowing if you aren't going to run premium consumables, this is how you do it. You have to be very conscious of when you are popping your damage control and when you are using other consumables like your heal and such. Now, I also recommend, since I only see 3 heals, I would also recommend, I don't know if you're waiting for it at a later point, but I would also recommend Superintendent on the Ibuki, because when you get to the Zao, having 4 heals is actually very, very nice. You can be a little bit more aggressive if need be, and the Zao is one of those ships that has this trolley armor that in some circumstances in medium-ish to close range it can actually do quite well, despite being a very longer range ship with high velocity guns on it. It does have that tendency to be used at longer range, but it can be somewhat effective at those closer ranges, especially with that heal. Now, I also did realize that this is a stock Ibuki. I believe the Ibuki has 39,000 HP when it's fully stocked out, fully topped out, I should say. So maybe that is another reason why we don't see something like we see a 14-second reload. That should be a little bit. I believe that should be a little bit more to the lower end, around 12-ish seconds. But it's been a while since I played the Ibuki, well over a year. That's for sure. It hasn't been on my to get list as of late. Of course, this is a good use of Hydro. If you do end up equipping it, this is a perfect situation too. Of course, at least for me, this almost never happens. I almost never get a destroyer come up to me without paying attention and stumble across me, sit in smoke, and fire his guns. So I think that's a little bit lucky in that case. But in the end, it worked out, which is all we want. Here, now I will criticize Masquerade. Blew his damage con a little early, because that would have been awful had he gotten a fire, that Mogami gotten a fire on him there. So I would have held it for maybe 1 or 2 more seconds just as those shells are coming in. And that's just a tip for anyone, whether you are using premium consumables or not. That's just a general all-around good tip and good thing to do when you are playing cruisers. Even though they did recently just get a pretty significant buff to the amount of time that they are set on fire for, it still does make a difference in the end, because you only have a certain amount of heals, and if you aren't using Superintendent, then it can really be a burden. A lot of their battleships are pretty clumped up, so we're going to be sailing out wide 16 kilometers, and we do have range mod on. I also just noticed that too, because 19.2 kilometers. So we are looking at some pretty good preparations for the Zao. That is something I would recommend for the Zao. And if you are looking to get the Zao, it is Japanese and cruisers in general, they are on sale this weekend across all servers, since Wargaming did combine all of the portals, or I guess servers, into one unified system. So another thing I also like about this replay is his positioning is actually quite good. Besides that one mishap against that Minotaur, it has been, I would say, pretty exceptional throughout. This is kind of the playstyle of the Ibuki. He's not sitting too far back where he's not helping his team 100%, but he's also just far enough where he doesn't take fire, which is what you want in a cruise. You don't want to be taking fire. but you also want to be doing a lot of damage. And we'll see here in a bit, we get some very nice terrain usage and using terrain to your advantage. And in this case, this is actually quite good because he can fire on all these battleships since he does have that longer range without having any return fire come his way. Now, of course, these battleships are going to be sailing out of his way, so he will eventually have to move. But if you see an island that you can shoot over, use it. That's one of the key parts of getting better in this game, is knowing which islands you can and can't use to shoot behind, and knowing, what your surroundings entail, basically. And that's just part of knowing your ship and knowing its playstyle. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So since he sees the only target left available is this Friedrich, gonna move out. No point in sitting here now. He needs to help his team more and get some more damage and kill off some battleships. So this Friedrich's gonna go down soon. He's got a fire burning. It looks like a permafire. And he's actually going to get the last about 2,000 HP, which is very, very nice. Again, here I probably would have kept sailing straight forward, but that's okay. There's not much left. It looks like we are going to win. Our Kurfürst is going a little balls deep, if I do say so myself, but it's a Kurfürst. What do you expect? He should be okay, but it does look like he's eating torpedoes, which of course is not good. He's getting spammed by probably an IVG Kutuzov, which is also not good. So yeah, he's probably in a bad, he's probably flooding too. So at this point, we're getting a little worrisome, but we've got Masquerade here. He notices Kurfürst just DCP'd, so he's going to start opening up on him. He notices his guns aren't shooting him either way, and he's sailing in a straight line. That's perfectly okay. But as soon as he shoots, he's watching his guns. He has priority targets, so he knows that only one person is looking at him. He shoots and then turns in. And then all of this guy's shell are going to go by the wayside. He even slowed down. He probably didn't even need to. That's probably force of habit. I do that a lot too. He's going to speed up again and open up, fire some more salvos, and then he's going to turn back again, guaranteed. Shells are coming in. Ibuki's quite maneuverable. I believe it's got around a 6.5 second rudder shift time. You guys can correct me, of course. It's part of your job as a commentator / subscriber relationship. That's just part of your job. Does get Wither, and with that kill gets Kraken Unleashed and an Arsonist, which is very good. Of course, we like to get those flags and medals. It does make us look much, much better. So one of their DDs, the Fletcher, is in our cap. The other one, the Kagero, is somewhere out to our northwest. So at this point, I would say Hydro would be a decent option. But the other thing that I didn't even think about is that we've got a Bismarck right here, so he should have his Hydra up. Of course, there are some mods that tell you, I believe there's one in Aslan's mod that tells you when your friendlies use certain consumables, which is quite nice, because you would know, hey, this Bismarck has Hydra up, I don't need to use mine. But in this case, he doesn't actually know that, and, well, yeah, I guess it doesn't matter, he's dead anyways, right? But I hope you guys get my point. So we know Kagero's somewhere out there, so that's where we're gonna fire random torpedoes. Why not? It's the last destroyer. And soon enough, we're gonna speed this replay up, because basically all that happens is, well, he gets spotted. He sees that someone's targeting him, so he adjusts his course. Again, someone's targeting him, so, well, torpedoes are on their way, and sure enough, at this point, Hydro wouldn't be a bad option, but again, the Ibuki's quite good at turning, so it's not too big of a problem. Kagero opens up on him, and at this range, Ibuki is just going to basically pummel this Kagero. Kagero does smoke up, which again, this is the end of the game. You're the last destroyer. You can't spot for yourself. I don't know what you're doing, man. Oh boy. Well, he tried. He gets Confederate in the process, and again, we're going to speed this up. He's going to pop his last Hydro here in a second before launching some torpedoes. He did use the minimap there. I don't know if you saw it, but the Kagero's last known position, he put one in front and one right on where the Kagero was. It's not a bad tactic. And soon enough, this Kagero will be throwing torpedoes, and he will be popping up at and shooting at this Tashkent, but Masquerade will end up getting the kill right here. Alright guys, so looking at the post-battle results, Masquerade is actually from Spain, if you couldn't guess by the name. So, of course, this looks all different if you are watching from an English-speaking country or a French-speaking country or a so-and-so. You get the point. But either way, 780k credits, 11k XP, 6.6k free XP, 2 devastating strikes, 1 on that Minotaur and 1 on that Shimakaze. Arsonist, Confederate, Kraken, Wither, and High Caliber on that Destroyer at the end, Kagero, which is very nice. 178k, very good game in the Ibuki. Got some torpedoes, got a lot of kills, 6 kills, good fire RNG, and a lot of citadels, 5 of which were on the Minotaur. Team score wise, we're looking at 2.9, pretty much 3k base XP, so a very good play on his part. So again, 6 kills, over 1,000, almost nearly 1,200. The base XP difference between him and the second earner on his team, the Tashkent, who did pretty well. 1766 is quite respectable within itself, but 3k, near 3k base XP, you really did put your team on your back. I keep going back, but looking at damage distribution, 60k from HE, AP 26 again on the Minotaur, 32 from torpedoes again on the Minotaur. And then just barely scraped away with a Witherer at 61k, 1.2 million potential damage. So that's about where you would want to be. That's a good average for at least tier 9 and even tier 10 cruisers for potential damage. So if you're aiming around there, you should be right on par. You know that you're taking a little bit of damage and you're putting yourself in somewhat dangerous positions, but you're not camping in the back. So again, good job to him. We do have premium, which is nice. That's how we're getting these 600 grand and these nice juicy 11,000 commander XP, 24,000 commander XP, 11,000 XP, and 6,000 free XP. So anyways, guys, I hope you did enjoy. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, and again, send in those community replays. We really do appreciate them. Or your match analyses, I guess. I hope so. I hope that's grammatically correct. But anyways, have a wonderful day. See you guys next time.